welcome everybody to the Ballers Across the Pond podcast. We come from the glorious UK to chat lots and lots about the NFL, week in, week out, every nook and cranny of the league. We will talk about it. Peter, Will, how are you boys doing? It's been a little while since we had our last chat.
Yep, it's been a while. There's a lot of changes across the league. This is what I like about the NFL. It's almost as though every year you cannot really compare both seasons. Parity is completely changed. Personnel are all over the place. You've got star quarterbacks moving, star quarterbacks that aren't going to be there anymore. Coaching changes. It's a completely different league from what we saw at the end of last year. So it's exciting. Can't wait to get into it. We have a mountain of things to cover. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yes, so that is quite an in-depth thing. We have a mountain. We're going to make that mountain smaller today. We're not going to talk about absolutely everything because it is not possible to talk about absolutely everything in one episode. So we will keep going throughout the off-season, leading up to the draft. But today we are predominantly talking about free agency and what's been going on over the last couple of weeks. Peter, how are you doing and how are you looking forward to chatting about how everything has gone on over this week? Because it has been absolutely bonkers.
It has been. To me, it's been an exciting week. All the moves that you see in free agents frenzy, and not just free agency, it's also about the trade market, the things that are going on across the league as well. But for me, unusually, I just feel like although it's been crazy and we've seen some blockbuster moves that has been made, the NFL never ceases to amaze. I just feel like it hasn't been as frenzy as last year was. Last year was like money flying off the shelf. But this year, although there's been blockbuster moves compared to last year was wild.
And speaking of a potential blockbuster move, a man who went into a darkness retreat.
Oh, God.
Came out, looked at his phone, and realised the team that he had played for 15 years, the team that he had been at for 18 years, man with a jersey behind me. He's not going to be playing in that jersey. It's truncated because obviously camera angles don't work always as you want them to. But Aaron Rodgers is not going to play another game as a Green Bay Packer. He wants to continue on as a player. He wants to be a New York Jet. He is following in the footsteps of Brett Favre, going from the Green Bay Packers to the New York Jets, providing that they have the compensation that they want. Now, firstly, what do you think is the correct level of compensation? Now, there have been lots of chats either way round saying the leverage is now all with... Some people are saying the leverage is with Green Bay, but some people are saying that the leverage is with the Jets. It can't be both. They both can't have the leverage. Green Bay still is lumped with that massive contract.
Yep, which they want to dump.
They want to dump because they want Jordan Love to be the guy. He looked like he's been capable. They want to build a team around him.
They've seen things to show that Jordan Love can keep the boat afloat. So, but the thing is, you can't properly evaluate him because he's not getting live game snaps. He's sat on the bench. So they have seen him play. And they think that he can contribute and he can do some things, but it's time to sort of get him out on the field. And with Aaron Rodgers there, that's not going to happen. So they do want to get rid of him. They do want to dump the money. The Jets will be more than happy to take Aaron Rodgers because this was the plan all along. They gave Derek Carr the cold shoulder, and I think Derek Carr kind of felt a bit disrespected because he's looking at it like, you guys really want Aaron Rodgers. I'm kind of like the backup. So I'm kind of like, if things don't go to plan with Aaron Rodgers, you're you're then going to sort of default to me. Obviously, that fell through, and he goes, I'm not going to wait for you.
Yeah, and then he goes off and does his own thing. So we're going to talk about him in a little bit later on.
But they needed to land Aaron Rodgers. It was Aaron Rodgers or bust, because if they didn't,
then
they
Zach
would
Wilson
have laid a massive egg.
Then it's
this
Zach Wilson.
offseason.
Then it's Zach Wilson.
Yeah. And Zach Wilson. So I think in terms of a fair piece, it's not a first round pick. I know people will say
they want first round plus, apparently.
It's just not going to happen. Maybe if a late first round, the Jets, they've got to look at it. Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
Brian Gutekunst, who's the Green Bay GM, has to be an asshole right now. That's the only way you're going to maximize the value. You know he wants to leave. He's come out publicly and said he wants to go to the Jets.
Yeah.
And that's where he wants to go to. So you speak to the Jets and be like, unless you give me a first round pick, I'm gonna be an asshole. I'm gonna keep him, even if it's gonna sit on the bench and we're gonna play Jordan Love. We will just do it.
Bad business. Yes,
no, but listen. This is called negotiation 1-on-1. You've got to be that guy that both parties hate to get a maximum value. As if you're not prepared to be a hated guy for Aaron Rodgers and for the Jets, you're not gonna get that first round pick, because Aaron Rodgers, in a way, kind of like is trying to do a big FU to the Packers right now, which is like, you don't come out and announce it unless the Packers say, okay, it's practically done. We've agreed some sort of compensation, and it's gonna come out in the next. But that's the thing, because Aaron Rodgers, as good as he is, we all know that he's a bit of an a-hole type personality, and he's trying to stick it to the Packers. You don't do that for a team that drafted you, they groomed you, they've given you almost everything, especially when it comes to money. They've never cheated you in terms of contract negotiations. They made you the highest paid quarterback or highest paid player in the league twice or three times in your career. So I just felt like it's a little bit ungratefulness of Aaron's part to not let them get the maximum value, because for someone like his talent, I still believe he can play at a very high level. If Russell Wilson can go for 2 first-round picks, Aaron Rodgers deserves to at least go for a first.
No, I think the Jets are kind of like in a corner in that. Like, to be honest, like I said, it's Aaron Rodgers or bust. Like, they need to do this. So I think they'll end up doing something like that.
But then that would lead into the argument of the leverage being towards Green Bay's side, but they need to get rid of that contract.
It depends who's going to crack first. So this is where negotiating tables, this is where your GM earns his pay, because this is like a standoff in the West. And someone's going to flinch first, and whoever's going to flinch is going to perhaps overextend or give away something really good for something a lot less valuable, or give up something that's not too good for something a lot better.
Okay. I'm gonna shift the conversation on within the topic of Aaron Rodgers. So let's assume that Aaron Rodgers. Let's assume that Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet next season.
Perfect landing
right?
spot for him.
Okay, let's assume this. What kind of numbers is Garrett Wilson going to be putting up?
It just depends on how well they integrate. I think he's got the defense there. The offense is going to be great. They've got that run game. Yeah, they can win.
They've got Breece Hall, who's coming off an injury.
They've
got Garrett Wilson, who's incredible. He's offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
And then you have the addition of Alan Lazard, somebody who Aaron Rodgers is already familiar with.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is already the GM of the Jets, because he just told them go get Alan Lazard, and also if you
can that's the allegation. But when you consider it, Alan Lazard also was a free agent, correct?
Well, he's tight end, right?
No, he's just a big body
wide receiver.
Big body wide receiver. But the thing is, when you've got Hackett, Alan Lazard going to the Jets, like irrespective of whether Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets or not, him going to somebody who's already familiar with. Players tend to go to coaches that they're very familiar with, correct?
Or coaches pick players that already know the system, that they know what they can do. You know what I mean? So I'm not surprised by the acquisition. I would be surprised if a few more names from Green Bay make their way over mid-season or even next year. I would not be surprised. In terms of like compensation, I think just send Zach Wilson over to Green Bay. and then those guys can duke it out.
No, because there's no juking. They're not going to accept that.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so-
I would just get rid of the baggage now. Just get rid of the dead weight.
Do you know the funny thing is? Like, I think Green Bay are thinking, for some reason, they can't be thinking that they have a Matt Stafford kind of like a level of trade happening. It's not going to happen because
No, I get where you're coming from. That it's not going to happen.
The reason why I say it's not going to happen is because of the contract. Detroit took on a massive contract for Jared Goff in return. The Jets aren't going to take in anything, so therefore the compensation, they're going to be taking the big contract of Rodgers'.
Yeah, but hold on, you're potentially getting a quarterback that's gonna put you in a spotlight for you guys to win more games. Certainly, you're looking at making the playoffs or maybe making a push to see whatever happens in the postseason. Correct. So my question is, as Gunterkust, I'm gonna be like I said earlier, I'm gonna be the a-hole and be like, yes, it's a massive contract, but looking at what you're gonna reap. Looking at the benefits that you're gonna get when you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, and we know how good he can be and how good how good he is.
Jets
Minimum, I want the first. Even if you don't give me anything at all, that 13th overall pick that you guys have got, I want that.
It's
I'm not even gonna talk about
year.
No, I want it.
We're gonna be the team this year, so we're giving you a first next year. You want a first?
Right.
You get a first.
All right, then let him stay retired. I'm sorry, he can't stay retired.
That's another bit of ammunition the Jets are going to use. They're going to be like, how long is Aaron Rodgers actively going to actually play? He might do this season. He might retire next year. He might do 2 seasons with us and be gone.
That is none of my concern. You want him.
It's
a first round. Look,
on the negotiating table.
I'm just telling you, give me the 13 and you have him. Because at the end of the day, here's the thing. I don't care. I want number 13. If you're not going to give me number 13, he can sit on the bench, do whatever he wants to do.
All right, a question. Right, so obviously we know the non-restricted franchise, the non-restricted franchise tag was used for Lamar, right? And allegedly the compensation they want is 2 firsts for Lamar, correct?
Okay.
Now, if you think of Lamar's age versus Aaron Rodgers' age, you've got to factor that in into the whole situation.
That's another 10 plus, potentially 10 more years. Well, with his play style, probably not, but if he turns into that passer, puts those legs in retirement for a few seasons, maybe, you know what I mean? You can get a good 9-8 years.
No, but I'm talking about the compensation for Rodgers. You've got to put that into perspective.
Compared with Lamar, that's what I'm saying. For Rodgers, the best they can hope for is to get a first rounder this year, because I don't know what the 2024 pick is going to turn out to be. So if I'm going to go, I want the first round pick this year. Listen, trading the 13th overall pick for potential,
would that be overpaying?
At least, no, that won't be. I think that's fair. The 13th overall pick for Aaron Rodgers is fair because he's
only for a quarterback of Aaron Rodgers' caliber. I'd say, I mean, if it was last minute, you have to do this trade because you can't let this not happen. So I think they're going to end up giving a first. I mean, they'll fight tooth and nail. They're going to say next year, but Green Bay.
I wanted this year because
let them go.
Because with Aaron Rodgers, I always have a chance to win. I always have a chance to make the playoffs. I always have a chance to get number 1 seed because he's that caliber of a quarterback. Now, compared to the Lamar contrasting thing, I'm just gonna say one thing, right? And that's the thing that Lamar Jackson don't get. And this is just my take on it, and I won't say anything else. Get yourself an agent, because what Lamar fails to recognize is that 3%
just doesn't work.
I think he's realizing that now.
That 3% that you give to an agent, right? It's not just him negotiating your contract for you. When Deshaun got traded to the Browns, or Deshaun even got traded offers, who do you think spoke to the teams and got the teams to cop up the picks and ready to put up the contract? Who got the teams? Like, agents create a lot more than just negotiating contracts. They create a market for you. They make teams want to have you. So when you don't have that, How are you gonna approach teams and
Yeah,
speak to
you
teams
need to
by?
pressure. Yeah,
That's
no,
what I'm
that's right.
saying. You need.
Because what the agent would do is he'd talk to other teams and he'd be saying, you know what, you don't want to give us this, that's fine. We've got 3 of the teams lined up. Lamar Jackson doesn't play this year. Cool. He misses out on 42 million. That's fine. We're going to put that on the signing bonus with his next team. So it's up to you what you want to do. He can either sit out this season and it's that.
I keep
That's what the
telling
agent's
him,
there to do.
it's simple. Go get David Mogaleto. He will get you to where you want to go to. He's the best
Yeah.
agent in the NFL right now.
It's a sticky
Alright.
one now because he's got to tell his mom, like, Mom, you're not doing the job right. I'm gonna have to let you go. And it's hard because you know what I mean? You've got to go to your mother and tell him, look, I'm gonna fire you as my agent.
Well,
Right.
Think about it. That's why
Yeah.
it's so hard. I think
All right.
he would do
Now
it if it was anyone else.
we must now move on to probably the other biggest piece of news in the offseason so far. The number 1 overall pick has been traded.
Yep.
Chicago Bears got themselves a haul.
I did dispute this, but I agree now. Only because I'm
Okay, so
thinking,
now we've had a little bit of time to think about it.
what's the haul?
So first overall pick trade. So it was
it's the first next
so
year.
first this year, first next year.
That's huge.
I'm just gonna bring it up. Just 1 second.
Aggression
Alright,
is
so,
important
okay.
in the league.
I'm gonna bring it up. Unfortunately, the internet cannot always be very quick. So
DJ Moore.
So
Hello,
the first
friends.
overall, right? So the ninth
That was the
pick.
player.
So they got
Yep.
the 9th pick. They got a 2nd round pick. They've got 1st round pick in 2024, and a
That's
2nd
two
round
picks.
pick in 2025.
2 second
Okay.
rounds,
And
2025, 2 first next
DJ
year,
Moore.
and DJ Moore,
Okay.
which caps off the receiving core.
All right.
But now,
So we'll go ahead and I'll give my
yeah, sure. I think they need to build around Justin Fields. I'm glad they saw. I think all of this whole they're gonna trade Justin Fields thing was just smoke and mirrors to see what teams would offer up. You know what I mean?
I'm glad the Colts
because
didn't trade up.
Yeah, no, Justin Fields is a lot better, in my opinion, for Chicago. You need a big body quarterback over there. He's able to stay healthy. He's durable. I don't think Bryce Young. I mean, if you traded, you'd end up with a worse situation because Bryce Young's going to get injured. He can't hold up against that. He
Are
can't
you
keep that team
sure?
afloat. You need a big body quarterback that's durable to play in Chicago. It's cold. This isn't the West Coast. You know, Bryce Young is from the West Coast. He went to Alabama.
Oh no,
you know what I mean?
I
So
thought you
he's
said
used to
Bryce
hot
Young
weather.
is not going to be. No, I
That's what I'm
misconstrued
saying.
this.
He will be good. He'll be good, but not for Chicago. He needs to go
Okay, I
somewhere like
misconstrued
Miami
that.
or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. He needs to
Yeah,
go
but
somewhere
all I'm
warmer
saying is
or
that
indoors.
Justin Fields is the right guy there. He's shown that he can compete, but you needed to put pieces in place to evaluate him. DJ Moore is now your number 1. You know, you've got
He is
your
a number 1
2,
wide
which is Chase
receiver.
Claypool is your number 2. I don't think Chase Claypool's that good. I think they'll draft the guy in the 2nd round, most likely.
they-
That will go a bit
I don't
above.
think they.
Chase
So
Claypool's
won't.
washed, man. Chase
They
Claypool
won't.
isn't
They
that
won't.
good. He's a free at
They
best.
won't.
no.
They traded a 1st round pick for Chase Claypool.
He's a
They
2.
essentially did.
He's
They
a 2.
essentially traded a 32.
I have no faith.
for
I mean,
Chase
someone in that
Claypool.
organization thinks he's good, but I think he's barely a 4 bait. I don't think he's that good at all. But you know, I say Darnell Mooney's better than him right now.
No, but here's the thing, though. What you need to understand, Chase Claypool is one of those receivers that he's at his best when he has a 1 to feed off of. He's not a 1, but he's a really good
DJ
2.
Moore's a 1.
Yeah.
That's
Wait, hold on.
an alpha.
Choo, the best signing is opposite. We'll get to that in a minute. He showed us
Mike-
L8.
Mike in our chat is
You're trolling right now,
a Pats
man. You
fan,
must be trolling.
over the moon way too much. But we'll get to that.
Like,
You're dreaming.
If the-
This
if
is a
there's
sign
an
of dark
alpha-
times. This is a sign of dark times, man. Like, we'll get to that later. But yeah, so I think this haul for Chicago was great. because it's going to allow them a chance to build. Then you can evaluate Justin Fields. They need to fix that offensive line, though. So that's
they
priority number one.
added a piece. Nate Davis, a guard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a very good guard.
So he's a very good guard. And they've added
point.
some pieces to the defense. Tremaine Edmonds, very good player, inside linebacker.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Walker at defensive end. They have started to load up. And the thing is,
they decided to. No, but they needed to because they have a huge cap space and you have to use a certain amount, so they have to go out and sign some players and make their team better. My take on it is that Ryan Poles did an admirable job in terms of trading for those picks, but he could have got more.
Yep, absolutely. I think that was my main criticism. I feel as though the haul was good because I had time to think about it, but I think he could have got more because I would have pushed for first and 1 and 2 this year, 1 and 2 next year. I don't want the 2 in 2025. I want 1 and 2 this year, 1 and 2 next year. DJ Moore and what do you call it? And if you can't give me 3 first, and you can only give me 2 first and 2 seconds, give me DJ Moore. And give me that cornerback that you traded off Jacksonville. What's his name? The cornerback they took of the Jags. They traded for him actually. To draft him.
What to draft? What JC Horn?
CJ Henderson. Give me CJ Henderson.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Well, they drafted JC.
Because the thing is,
exactly.
And after like. He could have got more, but then I guess he felt like that was enough. It's a good haul, don't get me wrong, but from what we've seen in the past, I've gone for number 1 overall picks, or even for 2nd overall picks. I mean, what was the last time there was a 3 first traded for like a 2nd overall pick? I'm sure recently a team has had to give up 3 first.
I think 2 out of the 4 quarterbacks here will not fail in the league. I think the 2 that are unanimous 1 and 2 any order, neither of those 2 will fail in the league. They will
Did you see how good CJ Stroud looked on in the combine?
CJ Stroud was the best passer.
Yeah.
Now it's up to Bryce Young to change that as pro day. But my thing is, if I'm CJ Stroud, I'm not even throwing him on pro day. I'd be like, just go watch the tape, watch the combine performance.
Watch the tape. I'll do interviews. You can chat to me.
I have a strong feeling.
But that's it.
Yeah, I have a strong feeling they'll take CJ Stroud, the Panthers, because their QB coach is Josh McCown, who was the Ohio State QB coach, I think. Just this past season.
That could be interesting, actually. Yes.
Yeah, no, they probably take CJ. A lot of insiders are saying they're.
So they might take CJ. Now, Dilly, just to round up, you gotta come up to 3.
I think we're coming up to 3 to get Richardson.
He's perfect for Shane
Anthony Richardson.
Remember the QB he had with the Eagles?
So do you know why I think this is happening? And we'll talk about it in a bit. About the moves that the Colts have currently made. We'll talk about that. Let's just hold that thought for now. Right. So Carolina obtains the 1st overall pick. We think they're going to get CJ Stroud. They've also added in a very good running back in Miles Sanders. So they've plugged that hole. They've got a very good running back. And they're going to use him properly.
Yeah.
So now it's a rebuilding operation. We know that. It's not going to all happen it's not all going to be perfectly good in one hit. They've also added Von Bell, a strong safety.
That's a very good safety.
Very good.
Very good safety.
And they've added Hayden Hurst at tight end. Good player.
We all know they're taking a quarterback because when they add a tight end, you want to give him a big target.
So we know that they're taking. Well, you don't trade up to the 1st overall and not
take a quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. But we know.
And also, I saw another thing. Did you hear that their tight end, Ian Thomas, took a pay cut to stay with them?
I did not see. Now, one thing is, do you know what is it? Who was the last quarterback that a team traded up to the 1st overall to reach the Super Bowl with that team?
I don't know.
Eli Manning.
Wow, that was all the way back in 2004. That's a
From
long.
my memory, there was something about you don't
Oh
trade
yeah,
up.
because
You don't trade up to the first overall and make the get to the show. It just doesn't work. It
that's
doesn't
true.
happen.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I think the last team to have done it and not get to the show probably was the Falcons when they got Mike Vick. They got close, but they didn't get to the show.
So it's going to be interesting, obviously, to see how that pans out. All right, quarterback merry-go-round. You mentioned it in passing. Derek Carr had visits to multiple places. He ends up in New Orleans. And in surprising news, Jameis Winston stays to be his backup.
Hey, I think it's more of just
Stability for
settling
him, I think.
Yeah, because I think he's settled in New Orleans. His family's there. He likes the franchise, and also the fact that they gave him an opportunity.
Yeah,
When it seems like all the chips were down, so
yeah.
he
And you
feels
have to
like he will
understand,
stay
like
there.
And he's been
he's
injured
made
the last
And
2 seasons as well. So it's
yeah,
kind of from that standpoint. Just
mhm.
he's made
for
his
him
money
to.
in the league.
Yeah,
Like
but
it's
for
not
him.
like he's looking for that. He's had his big contract.
Yeah,
You know, he's
but
come and gone.
I think what it is for him, he needs to have a season where he's healthy, even as a backup. Right?
Yeah,
Be healthy. Now, as far as Derek Carr in New Orleans is, that's great news for Chris Olave.
Yeah.
yep.
We don't know what's going on with Alvin Kamara with regards to the legal issues because
Yeah.
that's just it's ongoing.
Michael as well, the receiver. I think he tweeted it and he was like, "Thank God!" Like he was happy because now he feels as though
Hey, listen, that it goes to show sometimes making that move, the importance of a quarterback or having a good quarterback. Because Michael Thomas was out of New Orleans, he wasn't going to come back. The minute
yeah.
they signed Derek Carr, my guy was like, you know what? Okay, forget everything.
Well, yeah.
You know what? It's fine. I'm back. I'll come back. Don't worry about it. You know. So all the last 2 years that he didn't play, I know he had some injury issues and some stuff going on, but I think part of it was because he didn't really want to play with a bad quarterback.
You want to play with a running back throwing the ball. Come on, man. How are you meant to get excited about that? Olave's there like, you joking me? When is this guy gonna? When are we gonna move on from this experiment?
No, but I'm surprised. I'm surprised Sean didn't trade for him like as part of the package. They could have shipped him off with Sean to Denver.
There is nothing more frustrating because I played a bit of receiver. There is nothing more frustrating than knowing your quarterback can't actually get you the ball. Or when they do throw the ball, it's limp passes, and you're just there like, come on, man. So we're paid how much? And I can find high school kids that can throw better than this guy.
So they have. So there's $60. So 60 million guaranteed, right? 60 million guaranteed. $150 million. Oh no. Guaranteed at signed 60 million, total guaranteed 100 million, $150 million contract.
It's a good deal. Not, it's a good deal. It's not at the top range, but it's a manageable deal.
It's a manageable deal. Now, New Orleans cap wise, they're still down near the bottom, but we know New Orleans have the ability to do cap gymnastics as if they are.
They've got a cap
the
wizard.
Wizards. Yeah, they've got a cap wizard. Cap's not real to them. It's kind of semi-real. It's kind of just like a ghost.
If God ever blesses me enough to be able to make so much money and I buy an NFL franchise, there's one man that I would trade 3 first-round picks for. You know who that man is?
That cap wizard.
Exactly. Because I could be 100 million over the cap. He'll figure it out. He'll make something happen.
So yeah, that's one domino that fell. And then, so in other news for New Orleans, they gained a very good goal line. Oh, I'm going to say a very good running back in Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams had a standoff with the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions acquired a running back of their own by gaining David Montgomery. And that meant that Jamal was going to be going elsewhere. I think, providing that Kamara is there, it's going to be very similar to how when Kamara was in his early years, how they used him, right?
Yep.
So Kamara will have that lesser usage, and then Jamal Williams will get a lot of the goal line kind of stuff, the grunt work, and they'll be able to use Kamara more in the passing game as well.
Yeah, Jamal Williams is always more of a thumper, but so it's going to be a really good 1-2 punch. Plus, like I said, he can go back to being himself. You know what I mean? Because they tried to sort of run him a bit more, and don't get me wrong, he was still productive. That's how much of a talent Kamara is. But now he can get back to his bread and butter, in that they can line him up outside. They can find interesting ways of getting him the ball, and that's only going to help their offense. I'm happy for Jamal Williams. I think he proved he belonged, and he was an elite back. Detroit, obviously, I think they have DeAndre Swift, and obviously they did draft DeAndre Swift, so perhaps they want to sort of see how he develops.
Well, they've got David
Montgomery. I think it's the year.
As
and
David
Montgomery as a power back, he was actually good. I was about to say he's not quite as good as Jamal, but I think they're about the same. It's just Jamal has more charisma off the field, so that helps him out. That helps you sort of recognize him a bit more. But I think they're both similar-ish. But yeah, no, some good acquisitions there, and I think they'll keep moving. I want to keep the conversation moving a bit here. Obviously, with the Raiders moving on, and obviously sending Derek Carr to the Saints.
Well, they didn't send him. They let him go and go to the Saints.
They let him go. Yeah, they obviously signed Jimmy G from the 49ers. So he's going to be their guy. Obviously...
Is that an upgrade or a down? I think that's a downgrade.
It's a sideways movement. That's why as soon as I saw this trade, I was there like, this is either going to...
But it's not a trade. They just acquired him.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels is either going to sink or swim. This is either going to work out really well, and they're going to play well, make their way into the playoffs. They're not going to win a chip. Let's just stop that there. But they're going to win like maybe 1-2 games, and they'll leave it at that. Or it's not going to work out.
Look who's in the division.
Pause quickly. Listen, the Raiders, yes, they signed Jimmy G, but number 3 is waiting for them. If you get my hint.
No, you don't. So you just no.
Listen,
and the reason why I say no,
I just could easily do it. I'm just saying.
I think the reason why is just the Raiders. If you look at it realistically, the Raiders don't have a chance in their division, right? Mahomes has got that on lock.
So difficult. That's why I'm like, why would you do such as? I mean, it's good to have him there because it keeps you afloat. But in a division where you have a guy like that, you've got to be thinking, I need to get the best possible team to beat this guy, or else we're not even competing really. We're just going through the motions, you know. And it's hard when you have that guy in your division. Like,
well, you've got 2 guys.
You've got to be willing to go all out. You know what I mean? You can't just hang in there because you're doing a disservice to your fans.
You've basically got to do what the Jets did, because you look at
really aggressive.
You look at the Jets have teams in their division. Buffalo got Josh Allen. You've got people who are like dominant within that division, and you've got to be able to break that mold. You've got to be able to compete within that division.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't like the move from the Raiders. Raiders. Yeah. So they also acquired Jacoby Myers. So who moved from New England. Now.
Okay. So
did you see his reaction?
Yeah, I saw it. Well, to the Juju one, I saw it,
Yeah.
and it's like it's
That's a
literally
downgrade,
like
man.
it's not like that. It's more like Jacoby was like,
I'm,
really?
I'm young.
Similar money.
No. But you get a reference. They gave
Mm.
Juju the same money he got from the Raiders.
So
So
he must have
Jacoby
been
was like, so you couldn't
lowballed.
give me this. Like, really? Like, well, imagine like the team is not prepared to pay you 3 years, say 3 million, and then you outperform Juju pretty much for the season in terms of yardage, all that kind of stuff. Juju won a Super Bowl with a KC,
all
but we know
right.
it was because of KC.
I love that
Oh, that's
comment
what I
from
was about to
chat.
say.
It's basically
Hold,
we
hold that
said,
thought.
Raiders, Pat
yeah.
Raiders.
Hold that thought. That's what I was about to say. And then they don't give you that money. They go and give it to somebody that you've outperformed for the whole year. So you're thinking, wow,
Snake moves from a snake head coach. That's all I'm saying.
craziness. But
This is
going
what I
back to the
expect.
Raiders, like how the comment just said, that's literally what Josh McDaniels is trying to do. He's trying to get players that fit maybe his offensive system. And the thing is that we all know eventually he's bound to fail at some point.
Because
for
he's
now,
because he is Josh McDaniels.
He's
So
Josh
he's just trying to
McDaniels.
do what he's used to. Maybe
Yeah, okay.
Derek Carr didn't fit the
Yes!
system that he
we
wanted.
forgot that off our list. Darren
Oh yeah,
Waller.
that one too. I was shocked.
That's such a bonehead move. I just don't get it.
Oh, but did you see that comment on Twitter?
Yeah, I did.
His wife said it's because maybe it's because he wasn't invited to the wedding.
No, this is what it was. So they had. So the rumor was that they hadn't told anybody that they were going to get married. He leaked it at the combine. He mentioned it to a reporter. Josh McDaniels did.
That was Darren Waller's getting married.
Yeah, and don't forget Darren Waller's other half is WNBA
WNBA.
star.
Yeah, he plays for Las Vegas Aces.
And fairly big, yeah.
So
Definitely a big player
therefore,
in that league.
he was annoyed. Basically, you've basically told the world before I've told anybody. That's private business. You don't tell people's private business, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
And a trust breakdown.
Yeah, but did he tell coaches or did he just was?
No, he
filling
told
it
the
out?
press.
Yeah,
Well,
so
maybe
what, do
he
you
didn't
think they obviously had a falling out? But still, man, like, this was meant to be the team you're going to be with for a long time. Your wife plays for Las Vegas. You're meant to be there. And Josh McDaniels like, well, I'm going to ship you to the other coast, just like that. So now he's got to take all of his things. He's got to move over there. Darren Waller's no slouch. He's a part of that receiving corps.
Now,
And you're just getting on from that.
But the Giants have gained a brilliant piece.
Massive
Yeah,
upgrade.
Well, he's arguably the third best tight end in the league.
Yep. And young as well. So it's literally like, it just seems like such a backwards move. All I'm saying is,
if Danny Dimes can hit him, yeah. I think he'll. I think he's that good that he's probably capable of. Like, he's good enough for getting open.
Well, Danny Dimes about to throw 20 touchdowns this season, and that'll be an achievement.
Yeah.
How many did he throw this season?
15. He's never thrown more touchdowns on the games he's played every season.
But then he doesn't really throw INTs like either.
This season.
What you mean doesn't really throw INTs either?
This season past, he didn't throw as many. Previously,
no, he mainly
it wasn't
fumbled the
that
ball.
good.
Right. So I know we're getting a tiny little up. We're just gonna have this tiny sidetrack because
it's 11, 10, 15. I think that's how much he's done.
Yeah, he's never had a season where. So his INTs 5, 7, 10, 12. So 12 was in a rookie year. So I've gone reverse chronology.
What's the highest amount of touchdown passes for in the season?
24 in his rookie year.
He threw 24 touchdowns in his rookie year?
Correct.
Are you sure about that?
Correct. He threw 24 in 12 started. You look at who he has been
No,
throwing
he
the ball.
didn't.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so he threw 24 in his rookie year.
Correct.
For the last 3 seasons, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so look at
Yeah, the last 3 seasons. But you look at who he's been throwing the ball to in the last 3 seasons. It's like nobody.
Okay, so think about it this way. If you're a quarterback and I took you in the top 10, he was a 6th overall pick, right? I
You
expect
probably
to
need
throw-
to, yeah. But the thing is, I think the expectations now, like you're a top 10 pick, but we've seen how many not top 10 picks aren't even in the league anymore. So we've got to
Yeah, I
like.
get-
There's a certain amount of value that we've got to apply to it, and I think where we have realized is, I think we got spoiled by the player that Peter loves to hate when he was throwing to nobodies. A lot of the, some of the time, right? Particularly when he was in New England, right? He was throwing to
Yeah, but
no-name
he
players.
wasn't. Yeah, but he wasn't throwing 11, 10, 15 touchdowns a season.
Yeah, but I think that's no. I said we got spoilt by that. He was an anomaly.
No,
A lot of
not
people
even
can't
him.
deal with having
Not
having
even
zero.
Okay. If you take him out, there have been quarterbacks that haven't had the best receiving core, even no-name receivers, that have still done pretty better than this.
Correct, and there's a reason why he didn't get top level money, and that's why he didn't get top level money, and he got a kind of a team friendly, what I would consider a team friendly deal for the Giants. Correct?
He doesn't even deserve 40 million a season. If I was the team, I would just say, I'm gonna give you 30 million, take it or leave it.
Yeah, but it's the amount of. But we always get hung up on.
It's more like market value for the quarterbacks. Luckily, he's in the one position group where he has a little bit of leverage. But yeah, no, 100%.
What kind of leverage?
I think Saquon Barkley. Well, he's a bit pissed because he's like, well, without me, Danny Dimes is.
Hold this.
They decided to tag me.
They have a get out clause after 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So that's fine.
For only 18 million in dead cap.
Okay, that makes sense. That's fine.
So therefore, it's
right.
like I said, it's team friendly. They've hold fire. They don't need to do what they like. If he develops even further with better pieces around, Darren Waller, great piece to have, right? You've got Saquon Barkley. Can they revive Kenny Golladay?
Did they franchise Saquon?
Yeah, he's tagged. So Saquon's obviously not happy. He's looking after that to just get his money. It's always hard with running backs because the decline is there. He played all those years at Penn State. He's a bell cow in the NFL when he's been healthy. It's hard. The decline is guaranteed. So they're just trying to get what they can. I think if they tag him once, they might do it twice because it's the city that drafted him. But after that, he's gone.
Did they release? They said they released Kenny G. Okay, Kenny G was released. But they did bring in Paris Campbell from the Colts, and Paris Campbell, because he finally got over his injury issues, he was starting to make an upward trend. So I think maybe a little bit of Colts bias for myself, but he's trending in the right direction for his career. He's got over the injuries, and I think that'll be a good place for him to kind of develop, particularly under Brian Daboll as well. So they added him, and then on the defensive side of the ball, again, from the Indianapolis Colts, they added Bobby Okereke. Now, Okereke has played extremely well at linebacker.
Yeah, it's a very good linebacker pickup they picked up.
And I think the Colts, we couldn't keep him. From a monetary point of view, we couldn't have him and the Maniac. You just can't. You can't pay everybody, unfortunately, in this league.
Yeah.
So had to let him go, and that was a 4-year, $40 million contract. So New York Giants have made a few moves. And this gets me on to the Indianapolis Colts. And I don't understand what the strategy is at the moment. Because Stephon Gilmore was traded for a packet of crisps. 5th round pick.
Look, man.
Chips is what we call it. It's what you guys call it over in America. Crisps is the real word. But anyway, I had to have that little bit of fun. But so for a packet of crisps, aka the 5th round pick, what on earth are they thinking? 5th rounder for Gilmore, who was shut down.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, Stephon Gilmore's, I don't know what. Like I said, I think he's the LeGarrette Blunt of defenses in that. He just takes.
No, he ain't.
He's a.
I'm not talking from a player perspective and his achievements. I'm talking about how he handles contracts. Like for me, it just seems as though he's like, I'm just going to take the max money every year. I'm not going to get injured, and I'm going to keep making. So when it's all said and done, he's going to make a lot of money because he's taking the maximum amount, 2-year, 1-year deals, getting as much money as possible, and he's betting on himself every year. But still, a 5th rounder.
No, it's because he's got a very good agent who knows how to negotiate things and get him into good spots. Now, here's my take on the whole situation. Maybe he spoke to your GM and said, "Look, I want to go to a contender. Like, I want to go to a team that
give me something
gives me the best chance, to compete and maybe
so good.
get a chance to win a Super Bowl or something like that."
Gilmore's
But I would have thought your GM would have wanted something a bit more. At
More
least
than
a
a 5th rounder.
rounder.
Come on.
At least a third, yeah. At least a third. You probably would not be able to get a second, but you'd at least be able to get a third. Every year, he's top 5 as far as a corner. And I think a lot of teams are waiting for his decline. They're waiting for him to, he's old now. But it's just not happening because he's got, just like he says, his fundamentals and technique are going to last him a lot longer than sheer athleticism. And he already was athletic as hell. But he's able to play the position really well. So this is a guy that's going to keep playing well, even towards the tail end. He's going to walk away from the game being like, I could play this here, but I'm good.
So,
you know what I mean? So I don't get it.
That happens, right?
Yeah.
That trade happens. Colts then release Matt Ryan.
Yep, I think that was always going to happen.
That was always going to happen. Pick up Gardner Minshew on a 1-year contract for $3.5 million.
Great backup. Good to have him there to help the guy they draft develop.
Who is going to be...
You can sit your guy the first year.
Okay, so...
I don't know.
By
But
signing
we'll talk about
Gardner
that
Minshew...
soon.
It kind of gives you a little hint at the quarterback because if you're going to be... Because you say Anthony Richardson, right?
I think it's going to be Richardson now. That's my
But if you draft Richardson, then why would you bring in someone like Gardner Minshew? You need someone that can run that type of offense.
Richardson's not ready to start this year. He ain't.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the backup needs to be someone that's similar to Richardson because you're going to build an offense around him.
No, I think it was more of just you're going to have somebody who can hold the fort.
He's not going to start.
Yeah,
Richardson, if you draft Richardson, he's not going to start this year. That's for sure, because he's a project. Like, don't get me wrong, his potential is through the roof.
If it's Will Levis, I will. You will see me on draft night hitting my head against this wall.
If it's who?
Will Levis. Here, have some more shots. You'll see all of the Colts fans with tequilas be like, I might as well just get blackout.
So, like I was saying earlier, looking at Shane Steichen and the offense that he crafted for Jalen Hurts, and putting Jalen Hurts in a great position to have such an incredible good season. The reason why having Gardner Minshew will work is because you build the offense for Richardson, but then you still have to teach him certain nuances. I believe he won't be ready to start the season, but he'll be ready to go mid-season. A bit like how Jalen Hurts did with your Eagles. Like, you guys didn't start him straight away because you still had Carson Wentz. But eventually, halfway through that season, he came in to play the rest of the season, and Wentz was in
Richardson is going to need work. He's not
so
as polished.
Richardson is going to be similar to that kind of thing. If anything, he's got a better arm than Hurts. I think we can agree on that.
Yep, I can agree with that.
Athletically,
maybe not accuracy, but
did you see some of those throws?
Yeah, those throws were excellent. Like, he and Stroud were the best two quarterbacks in the combine because they really showed out. And athletically, he's got more athleticism than Hurts.
I think it's the most athleticism we've seen for that size
Says Cam Newton.
since Cam Newton. I mean, some would say he's even better because if you look at like his speed, his quickness,
Do you think
Exactly.
his
So-
both
do you think
speed,
his
quickness, strength as
fundamentals
well.
do you think his fundamentals from a throwing perspective are better than what Cam was?
In terms of, I'll say yes in terms of throwing motion, right? And let me explain. When I say in terms of throwing motion, Richardson's throwing motion is very natural, if that makes sense. He's a natural thrower of the football. Cam is a power thrower of the football. As like Cam used to pushes the ball instead of just naturally float. So when it comes to quarterbacks, when I say natural throw, I mean like the ball flows off his hands effortless and off the wrist. Cam tends to push the ball. It's a bit like a
To zip it in
almost
kind of
like
thing.
yeah, like with a lot of velocity all the time. Whereas Richardson is naturally able to throw the football, so you can do a lot with him in the off season by working with him and all that kind
It's
of stuff.
exciting.
It's
If your
know what
exciting.
I'm saying?
If your team takes Richardson because of his ability, his running ability is actually going to help him out early on because he can extend plays. And to be honest,
And the thing
we've
is,
seen what's
you
happened.
forget-
Like, and he's fast. He's not.
You
small
forget
back
who's
either.
who's in the backfield.
Yeah,
Yep,
That
one of the
helps.
best running backs in the league.
one of the best running backs
So
in the
that
league.
helps.
So that's
So-
going to help.
so-
So that's why it's actually a really good fit for
So
your
case
team.
in point,
Providing that we actually make that. Now we're
I
gonna.
know-
we're
I
not
know
gonna-
Bala doesn't like to move up, but I'm
Yeah,
telling
moving
Bala
up one
right
spot.
now,
Moving up, I think you'll have to move up one spot.
listen,
block it
come
up.
to 3, give us the second round pick. We don't want much. We just want your 2023
Do you
second
think
round
4
pick.
to
That's
3
all.
is worth a whole second round pick, an early second round pick? I don't think it's worth that much.
Well, okay, so listen, the Raiders want to come up to 3. Atlanta is thinking of coming up to 3. So what do you want to do? Do you want to give up the second or you don't?
That's the
Because the
thing.
other teams that will come up to 3 to get Richardson.
But Peter, you want to have your cake and eat it as well. I know you, as an Arizona Cardinals fan.
All I'm saying is the way the draft is shaping up right now, you don't have to give much. You just give it up a second. Just think about it. Just a second round pick.
Yeah, but it's an early second. That's the thing. It's not like it's a late second.
You've got to ask yourself who is on your board at
Because-
number
Yeah.
at the
Because
second
at
round.
3, if the Raiders want to come up to 3, or if the Falcons want to come up to 3, I could trade them to the Falcons, get a first, get their second, and probably get another second next year. I'll get more picks. It's up to you.
It's gonna be interesting to see how that goes. All right. But keeping on the Colts theme, Samson Ebukam. Yeah, I think Bear is correct in chat. Panthers might have messed up the entire trade value of this whole draft because they got fleeced.
Yeah, for
in
the
terms
one.
of-
Yeah.
Yeah, for that, first of all, they got completely fleeced, and everyone else thinks, well, we're going to have everyone else over the barrel. No, that's not how it works. The thing is, when the clock starts ticking on draft night, you might have to, it might be like lesser compensation on draft night because if you want to try and trade out of it, then it depends on who's wanting to do what kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it all depends as well because of here's the thing. That's why I said on draft night. Yeah, you never know. We could be sitting at 3. You get a call from the Falcons thinking, okay, we want to come up to 3, and get a quarterback. Everybody that's coming up to 3, we know you're coming for a quarterback to jump ahead of the Colts. So then the price is gonna go up because I could easily stay, take whoever I want to take, and the Colts take your quarterback. So teams, I think, if you trade ahead of draft night, it costs less because on draft night teams panic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teams know
All
that
right.
it's do or die.
All right. So, other news: Samson Ebukam moves from 49ers to the Colts. Considering Ngakoue is he's a free agent still, so he's gone. So that's a good signing from a defensive end point of view. The one that confused me a lot was the amount of money spent on Matt Gay, the kicker. 22.5 million.
Your Colts just signed Matt Gay?
Matt Gay for 22.5 million for 4 years.
Why?
I just don't understand. From a maybe.
What has been his kicking
I think I
percentage? Has he
understand the
been good?
rationale behind it. Matt Gay didn't really miss kicks, right? And he's played indoors, right? We play indoors. He played indoors last year. The number of games that we lose from missed kicks You just want some stability at that position, something that just like previously in the past. What do we have? We had we had Vinatieri for so long.
Yeah, but it's such a head scratcher because
It's a head
is it
scratcher
a
'cause it's a lot of
decision
money.
made out of insecurity or frustration? Like you wouldn't. That's a lot of money to give to a kicker
It's a
out
lot
of
of money.
frustration. Because out of 9 out of 10 times, a lot of other kickers in the league complete those kicks. Sometimes you end up with bad spells, and I honestly think it's as simple as perhaps switching your guys around or just getting another one. Right? That's how it is. Because that's going to come back to haunt them, really. They're going to be stuck there being like, we're paying a kicker, man. We could go get a corner.
I think this is what it is. For the Colts, we currently don't see the bigger picture. Because we can't really like draw conclusions from what the moves that have been made so far. So it's more of, let's see what happens. We know that Ballard isn't a free agency kind of guy, but
for him, this is actually good. He's actually spent some money because normally he wouldn't spend this amount.
He's done something. Now, 49ers acquired Javon Hargrave. Well, thoughts on that one? Because that defense has just got stronger.
Yeah, no, like I said, it wasn't necessarily a piece that they needed, but I think what they've shown is that
oh no, they did.
They did need a piece. When they played us, I think Javon left a nice impression on that defensive unit, offensive head coach.
I'll simplify. Do you know why they went and got Javon Hargrave? Because when they played you guys ran all over them. And that's because their first round pick, here's the analogy here. The first round pick that they traded before Buckner to the Colts for, and they said, what was his name? Javon Kinlaw. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't panned out. He hasn't been the defensive tackle that they needed. So they've ended up having to pay in free agency to get Javon Hargrave to come and plug that hole for them. It's ironic. And DeForest Buckner has consistently been one of the top D tackles in the league since he's been with the Colts.
He's unbelievable.
So it shows the ironic of you had one, you should have kept him, but instead of wanting to be smart and trying to trade him, even when that happened, right, I was like, why are they trading Buckner instead of Armstead? Because Buckner has always been the better DT. I don't know why they gave Buckner away, because Buckner has always been better than Armstead. Although Armstead is good, but Buckner has always been the better DT. And I think that's why they're plugging that hole up there. And also, I think for your Eagles, you didn't need to keep Javon Hargrave because you have a monster that's ready to start this year.
Yeah, Fletcher Cox is coming back. He signed a 1-year deal. So he is coming back. But
Jason Kelsey's coming back as well in the trenches.
Jason Kelsey's coming back as well. But with Fletcher
Cox
coming back,
his name, man.
This Hargreaves,
you mention his name, bro. It's his time now.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. With Javon Hargreaves leaving, this actually frees up a spot because now we've got Fletcher who can still go in there as the second interior tackle, so you can get both of them charging. So this isn't too bad of a hit.
See, this is why Harry Rose was one of my favorite GMs. He knew this coming up this offseason, if Javon Hargrave was to move on, it gives the opportunity to slide in Davis that you drafted last year. He was rotating last year. This year he steps in. He's had his rookie year to get acclimatized and everything. So he's going to be your full-time first team DT with Fletcher Cox coming back.
Yeah.
So your DT is sorted out. And I bet you this year he's going to go and draft one. Like, for example, if Jalen Carter slips to like the 10th overall or something, I'm surprised.
Have you seen Jalen Carter is falling down draft boards?
Every team is hoping. Teams are hoping because
watch out for Harry Roseman, because Harry Roseman will pick him up. Harry Roseman loves defensive and offensive linemen.
If we can get Javon and Jordan Davis, oh man, that's gonna be nice. But all I'm saying is TJ Edwards is gone as well. I believe which team he went to, but that basically
he went to Chicago. So TJ Edwards went to Chicago. So if we look at outgoings from Philadelphia, Andre Dillard tackle, went to Tennessee.
That
Miles
was
Sanders,
much-
obviously, we
yeah.
talked about him earlier. TJ Edwards gone. Marcus Epps went to the Raiders. Kazir White to the Cardinals. And acquisition of Rashad Penny as well on a very cheap deal. And Rashad Penny, the issue with him is injuries. Can he stay on the field?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
N-
if he's not injured, he's one of the good backs in the league. He can really
Correct.
play.
Nakobe Dean, he's now going to be sort of taking TJ Edwards' spot, which is really good. So obviously you had Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean who had a whole season to sit and learn, acclimate, and get used to the NFL speed. So it's going to be really good to see how they play this season. I honestly think I don't see us drafting a strong safety, but we need a guy there. The Darius Slay move, I think KR Bear sort of mentioned it. We kept Bradbury, we've signed him. Slay we released, but then re-signed. It looks like he's going to stay. I think this was all to try and see what we could do to try and get Chauncey Gardner, because he is the pivotal part of the back end of our defense. When he was not in the lineup, look how our secondary performed. Like, we need him there. And his value, it's on the tape, and Chauncey Gardner knows this. So I think he's going to get paid. How he's going to find a way, because there's no one really in the draft right now that's 100% going to be an equal to Chauncey Gardner. So I think we're definitely going to pay him, but we need to get a strong safety. We can't get a strong safety early in the first round. That would be a waste of a pick. Like I said, Pete, if Jalen Carter's there, we're going to pull the trigger, but we're definitely going to get, we need like a lockdown strong safety to complete this defense. So it's going to be interesting.
Why haven't you guys signed Chauncey Gardner back yet?
I think it's just negotiation. He's staying. There's no way we let him out.
I think it's just
our defense is completely different with him in the lineup. So I think it's just negotiation. One thing I'll say about our offensive line is with Kelsey coming back, I think the whole of our offensive line is comprised of players that were drafted, excluding the tackles, to replace him. So that's why we're so talented. All of them were drafted to replace Jason Kelsey, like Landon Dickerson, all of those guys, but they're just having to wait. So you know what I mean? Like, we've got Cam Jurgens as well. He was drafted, but he's not gonna be. We're now having to play him at guard because Kelsey.
Well, he's gonna play guard because I think you didn't bring back Isaac Samao.
Yeah, so Samao I think's gone to another team, but he was also drafted to take over Jason Kelsey's spot. So these guys are very talented, and it shows. You draft to be the best.
Speaking of trenches, Orlando Brown to the Bengals.
Yep.
Now that's an interesting move.
Yep.
It's a hell of a pick, and he got less than initially he wanted. But here's the thing, though. When I think about it, right, I think the Chiefs have made a mistake here because they chose to give a huge deal to Jawan Taylor. They signed him for an $80 million deal to come and play right tackle, because Jawan Taylor's always been a right tackle. I'm not for a fact he ain't playing left tackle because he hasn't played left tackle, right? And my question is, why they give such a big deal to Jawan Taylor, and they didn't give that sort of deal to Orlando Brown? I think they tried, but I think Orlando Brown was looking for much more money. And I think the issue here is sometimes when you overplay your hand in negotiations, because I think that's the money they wanted to give to Orlando Brown. But Brown wanted to be the highest paid left tackle in football. And when he went to free agency, I think when they couldn't get that deal with the Chiefs, the agent was like, there's no market out there. No team's willing to, make you the highest right now. There's not a lot of teams. So I think the best deal he could take was the one with the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals deal that he's got is a 3-year deal.
4 years, $64 million.
I wish it was a 3-year, then you can hit free agency again and command big money. But it's a very good deal for
he's only 20,
left tackle.
He'll be 27 when the season starts, so he's got another deal in him. The lineman.
Yeah, but okay, so 27 plus 4, that's 31. At 31, you you're not breaking the market because you're in Trent Williams.
You're not
I'm
breaking the
sorry.
market, but you're going to get a good contract.
He will. But now the question is, are they going to switch their current left tackle to right tackle? Because Orlando Brown has made it clear he only wants to play left tackle.
We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. We'll talk about that.
But it's a good deal for the Bengals, though. It
Yeah,
really
it's a great
bolsters
deal
their
for the
offense.
Bengals. Speaking, all right, teams who have a team who has splashed the cash. The Denver Broncos have spent some money this offseason. Mike McGlinchey, right tackle from San Francisco, $87.5 million.
Oh, quick one
5
before we talk
years.
about Mike McClinky. It's confirmed Orlando Brown is playing left tackle for the Bengals because he
Okay.
said he's super thankful for the opportunity to join the Bengals, carry his father's legacy, and be a left tackle. So for him, whichever team he plays for, he wants to be a left
Yeah.
tackle.
Wait.
If you're not playing left tackle, he's not coming to you.
All right. Back to the Broncos. Mike McGlinchey, $87.5 million, 5 years. Ben Powers, guard, $51.5 million. And then defensive end, Zach Allen, $47.75 million. They re-signed Alex Singleton for 3 years, $18 million. They added Samaje Perine as well as a running back, who showed his worth really when towards the end of last season. So they've put their money where their mouth is. They had to do something. They had to rectify that offensive line. Now, with Sean Payton, with the quarterback, with the better offensive line, can they actually do something this year?
I mean, the season just gone left
Rather
such a
than
bad
stink it
taste
up.
in our mouth. Yeah, the season just gone left such a bad taste in our mouth. The only way you can really go is up. I don't think it gets worse than that. So they will improve this season. We just need to see if Russ can take the steps needed to sort of get back on track. Like I said, even despite the performances, I still feel as though I'm not saying he's a great QB or he can play at a really good level now, but he can't play as bad as he did last year. And I don't think Sean Payton's gonna allow him to make the same mistakes. It's definitely not going to be the head coach this time. So it's up to Russ to sort of clear the deck. It's a fresh start. I just hope for his sake.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope for his sake he plays better, or this could be it for him as far as playing.
I think there's nowhere to go but up, and I think Sean Payton is making the right moves in terms of strengthening the offensive line. I think the running game is going to be very important for Denver. I think Sean Payton is going to instill a very strong running game because a lot of people tend to forget that when he got Drew Brees, the first 2-3 seasons, the emphasis was like the run game was really good, and even when Drew Brees had unbelievable passing numbers where he was throwing for a lot of yards, they still had a good run game. One thing that Sean Payton is going to insist is that we have at least a top 10 type rushing attack to go along with explosive passing offenses, so the run game is going to get better and it's going to help Russell Wilson outright. The key to me is the mental side of this with Russell Wilson because what do you call it? Sean Payton, when he got a job, the first thing he said was that office that they gave him last season is gone. You ain't having no office in the facility. You're not. See, I'm the law, so no more offices for you, no more special favors for you and your family. We're gonna treat you like any other player with some privileges because you're the quarterback, but you're not gonna have everything that you want. And I think the challenge will be how they're gonna build that relationship because I think a little bit of it is also like I think Sean Payton is gonna speak to Russell Wilson quite frankly and be like the celebrity aspect of it. He might have to tone it down a little bit to get back to the basics because I know you married a superstar and all that kind of thing, but you're gonna have to dial it back a little bit to get back to who you used to be in that sense. And I think, and for me, I think that's the biggest part of Russ getting back to what Russ used to be. The fact that, and even there was reports that he used to have his team in the Broncos facility, so he had his own doctor, he had his own, like, those kind of things that Bill Belichick shut down with Tom Brady when Brady was trying to get a little bit like that. It's kind of like in a team sport, your personal trainers and stuff like that, they can build you with your house, not in the facility.
Mm.
And I think that's going to be the biggest key to Russ turning around. So if Russ can buy into Sean Payton and let go of all the outside distractions, his own team and all that kind of stuff, and get back to the basics, like what made you Russ, then we can see the best of Russ again.
Yeah. Well, one other thing that we didn't have on our list. So a certain player got released by the Cowboys. It's finally happened. Zeke. It's going to end up somewhere.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Probably
I think
it'll have to be after the draft. I don't see a team signing them before.
Man, Zeke's legs are shot. I don't think any team is willing to give up to pay him anything. I think unless he's willing to take a discount, which he will have to.
Reports the Bucks. So the Bucks did sign somebody, didn't they? They did sign somebody. Who did they sign?
Baker Mayfield. The Bucks.
Yes, Bucks signed Baker. Oh, they signed Chase Edmond.
Yeah, I just don't.
With Zeke, right? I'm just like,
dude, he's shot, man. Like it's not his fault either. His legs are gone.
Numbers. Okay, I get it. His pre-draft numbers were great. 4.47 means that you have the speed, right? And I get that. And he came to the league, first 1, 2, 3, 4. First 4 seasons in the league, he was, amazing as a running back. And I kind of want to compare it a bit. And I'm just thinking, was it because this person I'm about to mention was just a generational back, that he was able to do it for so long until he couldn't do it anymore? And I'm talking about Mr. All Day, Adrian Peterson. Was he just a bit of a genetic freak as a running back? Because he was very consistent for a long time before.
Well, you have guys like Frank Gore as well, who was able to stay consistent the majority of his career. Even in the tail end of his career, he didn't get the carries, but whenever he did get on the field, he still kind of had a semblance of that burst. With Zeke, literally looks as though
AP here, Frank Gore here.
Yeah.
He
was infinite. He was infinite.
Yeah.
He had the Infinity Stone, Frank Gore.
Yeah. But for Zeke, man, his legs are shot, and it's the mileage. Like his acceleration is gone. He still has power. You can still use him as a power back, but he's gonna have to take a massive discount. We're talking like less than 10 million, man, to stay in the league. We're talking less than 10. He might get like 6 million a year, 5 million maybe, if he can push and still have a role on another team. But that's it.
But what I'm saying is that did we kind of get it wrong a bit with Zeke? Because Zeke was meant to be kind of like the next type of generational back. There's certain running backs that have.
I think it's mileage.
When I gave like Adrian Peterson the example, for instance, right? Yeah, there's mileage on every running back, like we say. But AP came into the league, and for the first 7, 8 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About the first 10 seasons, he was just sensational. 1,000 yards after 1,000 yards, and he was literally playing all the games all year. So my question is, did we evaluate it a little bit wrong? Because Zeke was kind of like meant to be like the next generational back in a sense, and the fact that he only was able to do it for 4 seasons before.
I think Zeke was explosive in college, and like I said, his Ohio State years, he was just doing crazy numbers.
He wasn't bad. Do you see AP in college?
Yeah, I know, but that's why I think the hype was there. He had his own style, but AP's unique. Like, I honestly think there aren't like a lot of backs that we'll see like him.
But that's why I'm saying that then do we class AP as the last generational back that we've seen then? Because we haven't seen a back like him since then.
Yeah.
To be
it's
like
true.
as
We've seen guys
consistent as
that
he was.
could come close, but we have yet to see. I mean, in this year's draft, you've kind of got a guy like DJ
But do you know the insane thing is?
Robinson, who a lot of people are saying is that next kind of Zeke Elliott style. You're gonna get
No,
3-4 years.
nah.
Yeah, no, a lot of people are saying
But the insane thing is, Zeke's going to be 28 next season.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like he can still
That's
play.
And AP didn't lose his mileage till he got into like his 30s. You know,
Like we're talking like 33, 34. That's when we start to see, like, bam, like this guy's the best years are gone. You know what I mean? He was still able to play.
No,
even after his injury year.
Basically,
that was,
after
31?
Yeah, 31 was his injury year, and basically
but
after
he nearly broke the record. He was 6 yards short of breaking
6 yards short.
Eric Dixon's record coming back off that year. But then after that, it was basically the drop.
But wait a minute. So no, in 2016 he got injured, right? When he was 31. He only played 3 games for 72 yards. 2017, he came back from that injury, had 7 games starting, 500 odd yards. 2018, he had a resurgence with Washington, had 1,000-yard season again.
1,000 yards.
Yeah,
and about 898 yards. But
then
what I'm saying is
the end was like the end.
Exactly. But when you look at his prime, like he was, sort of like premier back, churning out a lot of, yardage and stuff.
He was the back of the NFL. And if you ask like a lot of current running backs in the league now, who they looked up to and who they remember, it's Adrian Peterson. I mean, he was the face of the NFL as far as running backs. You know what I mean?
I just hope Bijan can be more of like an AP than a Zeke Elliott. I mean, as we're talking about it, for me, I really wonder what really happened. Was it the injuries, or what was it? Because
it's the workload.
It's just a drop. The drop that Zeke had is what I'm just. How do you go from your first 4 years being phenomenal and then all of a sudden it's like
when you're in college, if you become the starting running back in college in your freshman year, you've got to get out of there as soon as you can.
Okay. I'm going to say this, right? I'm going to go by yards per carry, right? Mm-hmm. Year 1, 5.1. Year 2, 4.1. Year 3, 4.7. Year 4, 4.5. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Year 5, 4 yards per carry. Year 6, 4.2. And this latest year, 3.8. Obviously, this latest year he was used primarily in short yardage situations because Pollard was so dynamic. So he had taken that. So you can't look at the stats purely from a stats point of view because effectively you have to contextualize it.
Okay, so when you talk about the number of carries, well, like, look, Zeke's first year, that's when he had the most carries in his career to date, was 322 attempts, right? Of running the football. AP's second year, he carried the ball 363 times.
That's crazy.
So
it was their offense stuff.
So in a sense, it's kind of like with Zeke, I'm quite surprised, and he's only 28 as well. So I'm quite surprised that it's been such a short career for someone that was like, highly
Zeke was
heralded.
first team All Pro once so far.
AP was 4 times.
Correct. So there's the difference in that. All right. So there we have today's edition. For those who have not been able to catch the entirety of the show, it will be on YouTube. We're going to be uploading it to YouTube. So please search for Ballers Across the Pond there. And goodbye from myself, goodbye from Will, goodbye from Peter. And we'll catch everybody next week. We're going to be talking about the draft. We're going to be talking about more of the free agency stuff, what happens in the league. And until then, we'll catch everybody next time. So peace out, boys.